Welcome back, YouTube. My name is TayVikes28, and we are live once again here in the Toronto Huskies franchise. And hopefully we'll be able to finish out this off-season, do the NFL draft, show you guys some updates in free agency. I believe I may have done that in the last episode, but real quick recap of free agency, and then we'll go ahead and do the NFL draft. And who knows, maybe even week one, depending on how far into this the NFL draft takes. It's all time dependent, obviously. But first things first, let me check my audio, make sure everything sounds okay. And as long as... Alright, so audio sounds alright for me. Hopefully it sounds okay for you guys. But in the meantime, let me give you guys a quick rundown. For those of you that are new here, the Toronto Huskies franchise is a little bit different than your usual franchises. Obviously, this is a sim-based franchise. What that means is we will be not necessarily playing the games. We will be commentating, or I will be commentating over all the games. We'll see every single play from our players and from our team, but we will not directly affect the outcome of the game, if that makes sense. So this is a real team building exercise more than anything. And so previously on the Toronto Huskies franchise here, we just finished free agency, and these are some of the pickups that we had. It wasn't a great free agent class, obviously, but some of the pickups that we were able to grab were Jerry Jeudy, who really we didn't need Jerry Jeudy. He was more or less just a nice upgrade that we were allowed to have because of our situation, our cap situation and everything. And so we decided to give Jerry Jeudy a one-year prove-it deal because why are we going to pay someone $13 to $15 million or something like that a year if he doesn't really provide much of an upgrade over Keontae Bonds, who was the number 2 receiver last year? So we decided, let's give him a one-year prove-it deal, pay up for him a little bit, and that's what we were able to do. So let's see if he provides a big impact on this offense, big enough to deserve a second contract. We will have to wait and see. And then we also brought back Big Play Slay. We were looking, and he's still a solid corner. Despite being 32 and regressing, he still has good coverage ability. And honestly, like I said, there weren't very many corners out there that were even on his level. So we decided to bring him back for one more year. We also signed Chase Young, as you can see. And this is one that I was up in the air about. I thought I was going to have to choose between Jerry Jeudy and Chase Young. But because we gave Jeudy a one-year contract, I signed Chase Young to a 3-year deal. It was a little expensive, but it was because we lost none other than Ryan Kerrigan in the offseason. Veteran Ryan Kerrigan, the monster who just continues to produce no matter how old he seemed to get. He was 35, I believe, when he finally retired with us. And last season, he still had almost double, I think it was 9 sacks or something like that last year. So we have to replace that. And I figured Chase Young could be the guy to do that. You know, he's young. He can hopefully develop for us. And what's nice about it is we have enough pass rushers. We don't necessarily have to start him. I almost am thinking about pushing him inside to defensive tackle, actually. So we'll have to see what we want to do there if that's something that we decide to do. And then Earl Thomas. We went ahead and signed Earl Thomas. As you can see, we didn't need a free safety. We have Jalen Thompson. Jalen Thompson actually had his best year of his career last season with us. But I was sitting there and we had some money to play with, and I was like, you know what? Why not bring in the veteran Earl Thomas? And if it gets us that little bit over the hump to get us into the playoffs and competing for a Super Bowl, why not? You know, he was cheap, and he brings that veteran presence in the secondary along with Big Play Slay. So, what the heck? Why not give it a shot? And if he's not playing well, we can always put Jalen Thompson back in the lineup. That's what's nice. It gives us options at the various positions. And then we went out and signed Bobby Okereke. Obviously, Demario Davis regressed extremely hard this past offseason. He was 35, I believe, so it makes sense. He was all the way down to like a 74 overall, 73 overall. And so did actually Jordan Hicks, who was our second linebacker. So we needed to sign somebody. We can probably play J.J. Marable, who we drafted a few seasons ago, as a number 2, but we couldn't have him be the starter. We needed someone who was a little more consistent. And I saw Bobby Okereke out there. Solid age, 27 years old, so not too old. So we signed him to a 3-year deal, pushes him up to 30 years old. And what I like about Bobby Okereke is he is a great coverage linebacker. And honestly, we didn't have too many of those. We had a lot of run-stopping linebackers, and we never really had a coverage linebacker. So I'm wondering if helping with our issues with tight ends would be bringing in Bobby Okereke. So that's why we went out and did that. And then Nick Harris, who was on the team last year, we tried to let him go and see if there was something better out in free agency, and there was not. So we went ahead and re-signed Nick Harris on a 2-year deal. We still may look for a replacement, maybe in the draft, or who knows, maybe even on the trade block. But we will have to see at the beginning of this upcoming season. So that's kind of what we're looking at in terms of our team for free agency. League signings, there were a few signings, not a whole lot in our division though. Which is good. Good for us, I guess. So as you can see, these are some of the signings. The Falcons definitely went out and signed a lot of players. They were huge in free agency. Of course, they got rid of that Matt Ryan contract finally because Matt Ryan retired. So that freed up about $50 million or something ridiculous for them. So they were able to go out and spend all of that. So maybe that will help them compete this year. You never know. As you can see, not a whole lot in our division. And honestly, just not a whole lot of changes across the NFL, if we're going to be 100% honest this year. Just one of the worst free agent classes I've seen in quite a while. So that is a little unfortunate. But you know what? It's kind of an up and down thing. We'll have good free agent class and then a really bad free agent class. So it is the way this works. So let's go ahead and real quick recap what our team looks like, how we feel moving forward. We'll go ahead and go to the lineup page here. I don't usually use this, but I think it'll give us a good idea of where people are going to be playing for us. So we got Trevor Nickerson as our starting quarterback. He had a much better, much improved sophomore season. And then Aaron Jones, CeeDee Lamb, still going here. And now we have Jerry Jeudy outside, which pushes T. Higgins to the 4th receiver and Keontae Bonds to the 3rd, which I do think that having Jerry Jeudy will benefit this offense. The question to me is just how much. And then across the offensive line, as you can see, it's pretty much the exact same as it was last season. Liddell Betts actually struggled a little bit last year, so who knows, maybe we look to move on from him. Obviously, we have Trey Smith back there behind him, who we could end up starting. Travis Kelce is still here, still going strong for us, so that's nice to see. He didn't retire. Defense, we've got, obviously, Big Play Slay comes back, so that slides him right back into where he was at. I thought for a second we might have to have Richie Branch start outside, but he continues to be the nickel corner. Now, obviously, we got Micah Parsons, Floyd Ellis, and I think we're going to end up putting Chase Young in here at defensive tackle, which means that we can bring a Darius Evans down here to play left end opposite Micah Parsons. And because that duo of Parsons and Evans is deadly. And then Quincy Williams can be a rotational guy in terms of pass rush, as well as playing back here in the actual linebacking core. And then we can go ahead and maybe start Logan Wilson in here on the left outside linebacker spot. So that gives us lots of options out there. And then obviously we still got Jaquil Easter on the back end and Earl Thomas with Jalen Thompson. So the way I see it, this team's pretty solid. In terms of what we need to draft, I'm not sure that there's a whole lot. Maybe look for some upgrades across the offensive line. David DeCastro is definitely getting older, so he'll be retiring soon. Tight end, it's not a great tight end class, so probably not going to look there. Otherwise, we would. Let's see. Can always look for a running back because despite the fact we still have Aaron Jones and he's been solid for us, and Travis Etienne's the backup now, we did lose Latavius Murray, and the way I see it, you never can have enough running backs. So always could draft something like that if there's a good one available. Receivers, we could actually draft a receiver, and despite the fact that we have like 6 of them on here who are solid, eventually here we're going to have to make decisions because a lot of these guys' contracts will be up after either this season or the next. So we're going to have to decide who we're keeping, who we're not. And then on the defensive side, could always look for a pass rusher. Nothing wrong with that. Secondary, I think the corner is probably where we need to look hard at because Big Play Slay will probably be retiring. And this may be if he doesn't retire after this season, which he probably won't, he will at least most likely not be on our team next year. So he will be gone, and that means that we're going to need a replacement. Will that be Richie Branch? Maybe, but we're going to still need a replacement if we move Branch up for Branch. So it's one of those things where we always have moving parts, and I think that corner is going to be one of the next places that we look. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. So let's go ahead and jump into the NFL draft. Let's start this thing. And we'll go ahead and pause this draft. And as you can see, the Green Bay Packers have the number 1 pick. And looking at the draft board, we should probably take a look, see if there's anything that we feel like we absolutely have to have. And if that's the case, we'll go ahead and trade up for it. Because where we're at right now, we have a couple extra picks in this draft, actually. An extra 7, an extra 6, an extra 3, and an extra 2. So right now, I feel like there's nothing that we absolutely have to have. But if there's someone out here that we really liked, like I wasn't a huge fan of Winborn. I think that he might actually be a little bit of a bust, if we're being 100% honest. The guys who I was kind of intrigued with were actually Corey and Gabe Fowler, the brothers out there. One went to Washington, one went to Florida, but I was actually intrigued by these guys in terms of pass rush abilities. I thought they were solid guys who we could maybe look at. I really liked Corey Fowler because he could play as a defensive tackle, and he's got the size to do so. Despite the fact Fowler is quicker and has a little bit more zip coming off the ball, I think, well, I guess they're both Fowler, but despite Gabe, I should say, is quicker and a little bit smaller. I think Corey Fowler fits more what we need in terms of maybe an interior rusher. So that might be where we go. He's also a year younger than Gabe. So if we decide we need to trade up, maybe those are one of the guys we target. All right, so we don't need a QB, hopefully. But this is probably the only guy we even looked at. He wanted to see what the number 1 quarterback looked like, and he looks solid. Defensive tackle here in Ramsey, and he's okay. He's young, very young. Let's see, is there anything else that we've got? Vernon Green was intriguing. He was someone that I thought could be solid in terms of at least for our first round pick. So as you can see, we actually have pick 9, a top 10 pick, despite us playing pretty well last season. And this is one that I thought was interesting, getting Rayshawn Loud. Not saying we have to get a receiver, but he's got some serious speed. And, you know, like I said before, you could always use a receiver because we have a lot of those guys who may be leaving the team soon. And then, obviously, we talked about interior offensive lineman. Jonathan Reed is here. He's a solid guy. I think that he'll be just fine to slide in and start right away if we need him to. Pearson was all right. The running backs, though, that's something that I thought was interesting because you have Clay Graham here, who's got really good speed, and he really provided a nice impact for Oklahoma last year in the playoffs. And then you have LaMarcus Holloway from Maryland, who didn't quite have the same impact, but in my personal opinion, I thought Graham was a little better, but maybe the Maryland guy here in LaMarcus Holloway, he really provided shiftiness out there in Maryland, but he kind of got overshadowed a little bit in terms of when going up against some of those other Big Ten programs. He really got hurt by a lot of those big defensive tackles. But his combine looks really good. He looks solid, so that's something that we'll have to maybe look past. LaMarcus Holloway as an option, though, as well. And then at right tackle, we've got a strong young man here in Justin Rollins, someone who can obviously start probably across any of the offensive line spots, so he's someone we should definitely target at 21 years old. And then obviously down here a little ways, these could be targets maybe for our second round pick. You got Wade Glenn, who I think may be the best player in this draft class. I mean, I was so impressed with what he did at Georgia, and the only reason he's not a top 5 draft pick, in my personal opinion, is he didn't get to play as long as some of these other guys. I mean, he had one season, or really half a season at Georgia, and if it wasn't for the fact that he didn't get on the football field as much as all these other guys at the top 5 or 10, then I think he would be the number 1 player. So he's someone that I really want to target if we can. He's one of those guys who I might trade up for. And then another strong young man here in Deontay Sellers at left tackle. He was great for Clemson in the playoffs and in the college football playoffs, and really provided a rock out there on the outside of that offensive line. You didn't have to worry about someone coming after their quarterback. He shut everyone down. I mean, he just bull rushed them into the ground practically as an offensive lineman. So that really tells you something. And then obviously we got a young center here from Miami who was solid. I think I talked about him last time. So got some options, though. Definitely have some options here. Question really becomes, what do we want to do? So let's go ahead and see what goes the first couple of picks here, because I don't think we're going to trade up in the first few picks because, like I said, there are guys down the board that we could target, and I think we'll definitely get through the first top 5 maybe, see who goes. Like I said, Corey Fowler was the one that I really did like out of anyone at the top here, but not necessarily someone we have to have. So Green Bay with the number 1 overall pick, they go with Eli Jamison. Interesting. So they may also not like Mr. Winborn either. So they go with Jamison from Baylor, 75 overall, so solid but not great. They got Washington here at pick number 2, and let's see what they do. They go with Cedric Ramsey, the defensive tackle from Ohio State. Another solid pick, and once again, skipping over Dudley Winborn. That is interesting. Now the question is, who gets the quarterback from Michigan? Will it be the Steelers here, as they have pick number 3, and they go with Dudley Winborn. Glad to see that because, well, we don't like the Steelers here. So they went and grabbed, and as you can see, 71 overall, definitely a little bit of a bust there. So that is unfortunate for them, but good news for us, I guess. So then the Rams here in the NFC, they go with Vernon Green, that middle linebacker, and he was a 72 overall. So a little bit early for him, I suppose, but an interesting choice. Neither of the Fowler brothers have gone yet, nor has Ty Davis from Michigan. So let's see where these guys go. The Jets are on the clock next. Hopefully I guess none of those three end up with Houston, because then we'll have to face them. So let's see what the Jets do, as the Jets go with Corey Fowler. Now, as you can see, he's 76 overall, best player off the board so far, and he's the guy that we liked. So the Jets get him. Nice to see him come out and be pretty much what we thought he would be. So that's nice. Our scouting department did a good job there. And now let's see if the older Fowler brother gets drafted next to the 49ers, as they go with Luke Stewart, 71 overall from Wisconsin. Interesting choice there. So now we got the quarterback and the other Fowler brother available for Houston to pick here. And the question is, what will Houston do? As I believe they don't need a quarterback. Let's take a look real quick as to who the Texans have. They still have Deshaun Watson, so most likely they're going to probably go with the other Fowler brother if I had to take a guess, but who knows, maybe they go with a receiver here as well. And they do go with the other Fowler brother, as he's a 74, so not quite as good as his brother, which we kind of suspected, but still a solid player there. And then you got Detroit, and then our pick. And on the draft board, you got quarterback Ty Davis still there from Michigan, and Rayshawn Loud, the receiver that we were talking about, also still there. So this is going to be an interesting decision here for Detroit, who did get rid of Matthew Stafford this offseason. They let the longtime starter go, so maybe this is where the Michigan quarterback goes. And no, they go down and get the offensive lineman, Jonathan Reed. Interesting choice for the Lions. So now, here we are with pick number 9, and an opportunity, really, as we, I think, still had a solid season last year, but ended up with a top 10 pick. So you don't see that very often. And as you can see, there's some offers on the board, but none of them look all that enticing, especially for a number 9 overall pick. So we're going to go ahead and not focus on trading this one away. We're going to make it a selection most likely, or maybe trade down. We'll have to see. Now the question becomes, we really like Trevor Nickerson, but do we take a gamble on Ty Davis? I mean, he's young. He really was a solid player for Michigan, got him to the national title even. So is that enough for us to move on from Nickerson? Who am I kidding? We love Trevor Nickerson here. The story of the Maine quarterback who went late. I love it. So, Ty Davis, sorry, but you are not getting drafted here to Toronto. We could go Rayshawn Loud, as he is available here. Speedy receiver, an interesting choice. Obviously, you have Pearson down the board. Not super interested in him, though, and at least not here. We could go with one of these running backs, but once again, I'm not sold on that. And if we're going to be 100% honest, I wouldn't mind trading down maybe like 6 or 7 picks, because I don't love a lot of the options here. I mean, right here we could take Loud, but it's not necessarily something that we need. So I'm going to see if maybe the Saints want to come up and trade with us, or the Eagles or something. So let's go ahead and look at doing that. So obviously we will be trading our 9th overall pick, and we could also trade it for a player. That's something that we could consider doing. And looking at draft picks for the Saints. So they got pick 15. We'd be moving down 6 picks. They don't have a whole lot of draft capital, so that's going to be tough for them. And then the Eagles were the next one right above them. And obviously that would be a 5-pick drop. They've got a little more draft capital to work with. So maybe that's the answer. I don't know. And of course, we could always try and go get a player. You know, it's not a terrible decision there. Actually, we could use a guard of some kind, maybe, or a center. Maybe we could get one of the top centers available out there. Question is, who would be one of the top centers? I mean, you got Ryan Kelly here, but he's 30. You got Brandon Linder, again, 31. Frank Ragnow is interesting from the Lions. He's 27. Rodney Hudson, great player, but he's 34. That wouldn't be wise from us. Eric McCoy from the Saints could be interesting. Definitely intriguing, I guess, to think about. Maybe going after one of these, trading for a player versus picks. I just don't know if it would be very wise for us to do that. Could always try and go get Zach Martin from the Cowboys. Yeah, I don't know. Not really sold on any of the players that I'm seeing here. James Daniels is interesting, but like I said, a lot of the good offensive linemen are in their 30s at this point, and getting a player in their 30s, I feel like, is not all that beneficial to what we're trying to build here in Toronto, despite the fact that we do have David DeCastro, who's like 34 or something like that, 33. So, and he's been probably the best offensive lineman that we have, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I want to continue to get these veteran offensive linemen. I'd like to develop one of our own, actually. So maybe maybe we go ahead and just make a pick here. It wouldn't be the worst thing for us to do. I don't love it though, but I'm trying to think. Do we make a pick, or let's see, what other options in terms of draft capital do some of these teams have? The Dolphins have... Dolphins have pick 13, Eagles at 14, and obviously the Saints at 15. Maybe we trade with the Eagles. Might not be a bad decision to try and trade with the Eagles here. Thought about maybe the Saints, but the Saints just don't have a lot of draft capital. So maybe we go ahead and go with the Eagles. Get their first round pick. So that'll be a 5-pick drop. And maybe we get a pick for the future. Something like that. Or a player. We could always try and get a player. What do we need, I guess? Do they have any solid offensive linemen available out there? Creed Humphrey would be interesting. Young guy. Alright, so we could try and get a veteran like Brandon Brooks. Or Lane Johnson, but I think Creed Humphrey is interesting. And defensively, they don't really have any players that I feel like we would be all that interested in. So I think, why not try and get Creed Humphrey and a first-round pick here? And maybe we'll throw in a 5 coming back. I'm not sure where Creed Humphrey would have been drafted, but maybe we'll throw in a 5. Obviously, Humphrey makes up that gap. Okay, so it looks like they want a little more than that. We could try for maybe a 4. I mean, we do have 2 third-round picks, but let's try for the 4 first. See if they will bite on that. Okay, so there's some interest there. They viewed Creed Humphrey pretty highly. So that's the problem that we have. So the question is, do we want to trade one of our third-round picks away to move up? I mean, we would be getting another center. I guess let's look at Creed Humphrey's ratings here. So pretty solid all-around player. Nothing jumping off the board as amazing, though. Stats last season, he allowed 3 sacks in how many downs? In about 1,000 downs. So that's pretty good value there from Creed Humphrey. Maybe we'll go ahead and try for that third-round pick, see if that's enough. I don't want to do a whole lot more than that, though. Okay, so maybe we'll do the other third, and if that doesn't do it, then I think we're going to be probably out on this. Yeah. Okay, so they just view Creed Humphrey a little bit too highly, and it's understandable. He had a great season, and it must be a second-year player here, so I understand it. In terms of anyone else that they might move on from, I mean, Brandon Brooks... Not saying I love this, but he is a great player. And, I mean, he certainly doesn't allow a lot of sacks. That's for sure. And we do have the money to absorb his contract. So... maybe we try and do this. I mean, he's a veteran player. Maybe we'll throw in like, 6th-round pick or something. Because he's 34, so we're only going to get him for like a season or 2, if that. So I don't think we should be giving up a whole lot. Okay, so they want a little more than that. I mean, a 5th-round pick coming back. they're trading away probably an all-pro guard, but only for a season or two. I think it's fair. See, they want more. And I just don't know if I can do it. You know what? It would definitely solidify this offensive line. Why not? And we got the extra draft capital. Let's go ahead and trade a 4th rounder for Brandon Brooks, and it's still not good enough. A 3rd round pick, that just seems very expensive. Very expensive. But you know what? We would be getting a first back, so we're moving back 5 picks, and we're giving the Eagles a 3rd rounder, okay, in return for Brandon Brooks. Let's go ahead and do it. And we can still make a 1st round selection here. I don't hate it. We get, essentially, we're getting Brandon Brooks for this 3rd round pick. I think that's a solid value. Yeah. I'll do it. And they won't. All right, well. Huh. I wonder how much they would just want for Brandon Brooks straight up. Like, I know this won't go through, but I'm just curious, how well do they view Brandon Brooks? Okay, so they view him at least a 4th round pick. Interesting. Wow. A 4th rounder will almost get us Brandon Brooks. So I wonder why a 3rd round pick and they would be moving up 5 picks is not good enough for them. That is intriguing to me. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense there, as a 4th rounder is pretty much value for Brandon Brooks in terms of what they view him at this point in his career. So I know I offered, like I said, a 3rd round pick. So that is intriguing as to why they don't want that. So let's go ahead and all right, maybe the Saints will be a little more adept to trading with us. Maybe the Eagles. I mean, I do not like the Eagles at all. So maybe they just know that. They feel that in their bones. And so they just don't want anything to do with us. But looking in terms of any players that we might be able to get from them, I don't really feel like we need a whole lot. We could try and get Eric McCoy. I doubt that they would move him. But why not give it a shot? See if we can't get Eric McCoy. We'll go ahead and give them one of our 3rds. Good starting value there. Give them the better of our 3rds. I don't really want to give away a 2nd round pick. I mean, Eric McCoy's a great player, but I don't think that us giving that type of I don't know. So don't love this. Is there anything else that they have that we might be intrigued by? Ooh. I don't really think so, if we're being 100% honest. So, guess we're kind of stuck. Can't really trade this pick away. No one seems to be giving us fair value for this. So, it looks like we're going to be making a pick. My question becomes, do we go ahead and reach down here, grab a running back or something like that? I was hoping to trade back and maybe get one of these running backs, but we could always reach down there and grab one. Of course, I love Wade Glenn down there. Or we could go with Rayshawn Loud, the speedy receiver. So we go receiver. We could go running back. Just don't know what would be most beneficial for this team. Because running back, we have Aaron Jones for at least another season, maybe two. And we have Travis Etienne backing him up. We really haven't gotten to see a whole lot. So we have LaMarcus Holloway we could bring in, or Clay Graham. And then we could go receiver. Like I said, all those depth receivers may all be getting ready to bounce. So he would replace one of those guys. I am intrigued by getting a running back, though. As I mentioned before, you can never have too many, especially at running back, because as we have seen, they do like to get hurt. We've seen Aaron Jones miss some time, so maybe getting a running back wouldn't be bad. So maybe we'll go ahead and reach down here a little bit, get one of these running backs. The question is which one? All right, so we got the speed in Clay Graham. He's 22 years old. He's very elusive, solid carrying. Or you go with LaMarcus Holloway, who's got very similar carrying, and he's also pretty speedy, not quite as fast. You know what? Maybe we go ahead and try LaMarcus Holloway, because I feel like we've got an elusive back already, two of them. So maybe we need someone who can catch some passes a little more effectively. I mean, Aaron Jones has done a very good job at catching passes, but maybe Holloway can be that pass-catching back if Jones goes down. So let's go ahead and go with LaMarcus Holloway. And hidden dev, and he's number 4 ranked player in this class. A 76 overall, 91 speed, 93 acceleration, solid stuff there. 79 carrying, isn't great, but isn't terrible, right? He's got okay juke and spin. Actually, trucking, stiff arm aren't there. He's not a power back, so not too shocked there. But look at that, 78 catching, 82 short route running. Looks like a really solid player there. So I like the decision to bring in LaMarcus Holloway. I think it's going to be a really solid pick here. May not necessarily see the field a ton for us right off the bat, but I think he's going to be good value. So let's go ahead and continue forward. Keep an eye on the draft board, though, because I do want to try and target. I mean, Justin Rollins would have been nice to get, but I don't think that it was 100% necessary. I do want to target Wade Glenn, though. I think that he is going to be a monster and someone we definitely want on our team. So he's about 20 picks or so away, so I think maybe in about 10 picks we look at maybe going down and seeing where he's out on the board. So the Panthers here, with their pick, they go with Rayshawn Loud. So he was a 74 overall. We'll have to check out his ratings after this and see if we feel like we missed out on him or not. Obviously, we got the higher overall player, but that doesn't necessarily mean we got the better player. So we got the Cincinnati Bengals up next as they take Ramon Pearson. A little bit of a whiff on that. The Chiefs. Ooh, Chiefs' first big bust of the draft there with Alan Reed, the left tackle. The Dolphins also whiff. Now the Eagles, who wouldn't trade with us, decide to draft a bust. So it's karma, I would say. The Saints go with Ty Davis, the Michigan quarterback, finds himself a home out there in New Orleans. And it's interesting because they've had Jacoby Brissett the last season or two, and he was MVP caliber Jacoby Brissett. Led the league in passing. Led the league in touchdowns, so an interesting decision here to maybe get his successor. Now, the Buffalo Bills are up next, and they get the real strong young man in Justin Rollins. Solid pick there, 75 overall. Could have been useful for us, but not necessarily a 100% need. Then we got the Cardinals. They whiff and get Clayton Claiborne from Tulsa. Interesting. The Raiders also go with the linebacker in Hankerson. Now the Bears go with Vince Brackens. Now let's see what the Tennessee Titans do, as they are up next, and we will be facing this player twice a year. And they go with Ellis Hampton, the receiver from Michigan State, who I thought didn't look all that great in my personal opinion. I felt like there were better players out there in this receiving class, so not bad. Not mad at that at all. So looking at the draft board here, Wade Glenn is in the top 10, so maybe we look at trying to trade up and maybe get this player. Obviously, we're about 12 picks or so away from us, so he will most likely be gone. We could obviously target one of these other guys in that range, but why not try and go get him? If you like a player, go get him. That's always been my mentality. And we got the draft capital to maybe move up. See if we can get our second rounder, and we got the Patriots, I believe, who were on the board next. So how far away are we here? About halfway there. I wonder if there's a player. Do we have any players that we can move on from? I feel like a lot of the players that we have play impactful spots. I mean, we could always try and move like a Nick Needham or a Terrell Beckwith. Terrell Beckwith wouldn't be a bad one to maybe move. Don't know if they really need a defensive tackle, but there's some interest there for Beckwith. Not sure if Nick Needham is someone that they would really be interested in. Try and trade Rasheem Green. They do like Rasheem Green, so that is intriguing because we don't really need Rasheem Green anymore. Obviously, Green has started there at the very beginning, or not the very beginning, but the second and third year of this, or first year, I guess, first and second year of this franchise, he started, but the last 2 years he really hasn't played. Last year he didn't play at all, so trading him away wouldn't be the worst thing ever. We've got so much depth across the defensive line, and he's 26, and it saves us a little bit of cap space as well. I don't hate this move, so maybe we trade Green, the second round pick, and I don't know, maybe another draft pick or something down the board here. Trade one of our 7s away or something like that. Looks like they want a little more than a 7, so maybe we trade the 6 away. Does that do it? They want more. I don't know. A 5 would be a bit expensive, but it might be what we have to do here. I mean, trading a 2, a 5, and Rasheem Green away for a first-round draft pick. Solid value, I guess, because you are moving up. Excuse me. Sorry. We are moving up like 20-some picks, 23 or so picks, with trading this second-rounder, and we still have another pick to draft. So you know what? I say why not go ahead and trade, because we have 2 third-rounders as well. So let's go ahead and trade this 5th-round pick away. If that's what it costs, and wow. Okay. So I don't want to trade the 4, though. That just seems super expensive. Can I trade like a backup player or something? No? I don't know. What do they need? They need a tight end. Do we have any tight ends to spare? Jonnu Smith. I don't really want to trade either of these guys because we do use 2 tight ends occasionally. Quarterback, left end, middle linebacker. Maybe we move Merrill Wiley. How do they view Merrill Wiley? Solid, but not necessarily on the same level as Green. So let's trade Green and Merrill Wiley. I think that's solid value. Because Merrill Wiley, we can always draft a backup tackle who's, on that same realm as Wiley. Wiley's been on the team for a few seasons now, and he's only a 70 overall. So it probably means we started out in the mid-60s. So we can probably get a guy who's on that same realm down the draft board. So let's go ahead and make this trade. And they don't find that to be enough. I don't know what to do here. I mean, the obvious option would be to just trade them a 4th-round draft pick. But that just seems so expensive to move that little bit. Maybe I can trade a future 4. A future 4. That will do it. So a future 4, Rasheem Green, and a 2nd-round pick. And we have traded up and are now in position to take the player that we really like, Wade Glenn from Georgia, 21 years old, nice and young, great strength, solid speed. I mean, he's just an athletic freak. So let's see what Wade Glenn brings to the table. And look at that, number 2 in draft talent, hidden dev, 77 overall, best player we've seen off the board so far. And look at that, 84 finesse move already, and 88 strength is solid, not amazing, but we can certainly work on all these. 84 finesse move, though, is going to be absolutely disgusting as a rookie. So Wade Glenn, someone we really, really feel like was worth trading up for, and that's what we went out and did. We went and got our guy. The Denver Broncos are up next, though, and they go with a right end. The Minnesota Vikings get Diamond Lions, Falcons. All these picks after us make us look real good as they go with Deontay Sellers, the left tackle that we liked. And he is a 78. I think he's the number one player in this draft class, maybe. The Browns getting a steal at pick number 25. So now the Seahawks get Jermichael Broussard. The Chargers get Matt Beckett. I did like Matt Beckett, but obviously we can't get every player. That's for sure. Obviously, we got the Bucks up next here. We got Eddie Whitfield going off the board. Wasn't a huge fan of him. The Giants got Connor Hamlin. Huge whiff there. Unfortunate for them. The Ravens pick up Tracy Green. The Cowboys go with Benji Jones, the defensive tackle. Thought he was an okay guy. And then our division rivals and Super Bowl champion Indianapolis Colts select Derek Smart. I really wanted him with our 2nd-round pick. That is unfortunate. Oh man, that one hurts. That one hurts. But you know what? You can't get them all. So, gotta work with what you've got. So, Derek Smart, the all. I almost said all pro, but equivalent to all pro in college football corner from Illinois, and probably one of the best corners in this draft class, goes to Indianapolis, and we have to deal with him now twice a year. So looking at what's available here in terms of trade value, there's some value, but I'm not blown away at any of these options necessarily. I think we're going to go ahead and make a pick here. The question is, what do we do? We could get the other running back in Clay Graham. Can't believe he's still here. So that could be a possibility if we wanted to go that route. Any other players that are jumping out at us? We got Carl Gandy here, another corner. Looks okay. Not great, though. The Stanford defensive tackle, Marshawn Fuller. Don't really need another defensive tackle, seeing as we already drafted one. You've got, oh, that's right, John Prince, the 6'6 receiver from Boise State, who actually gave Derek Smart a lot of problems when they played each other in their bowl game. So the question is, would John Prince be worth it? Obviously, he doesn't have great speed. Could we develop him? That's a question that is up in the air. We got Richard Doran down here. Looks solid, but not necessarily someone that we have to have. Aaron Raymond from Kentucky. Once again, solid player. Not someone that I feel like we have to go get, though. Not really seeing anything jumping out at me right now. I mean, 6'6 receiver would be pretty nasty. We also have another receiver down the board here who is not 6'6 though, but does look a little more talented. But again, not great speed. You know, he's young, but coming from Notre Dame, Steed, he looks all right. But I feel like he's not going to really separate himself. You got Michael Jameson here, which is an interesting guy to target down the board, possibly. And Derek Evans was one that I thought was solid, someone who might be value, not necessarily in this round, or maybe late this round or something. So that's a route we could go. We wanted to shy away from Jawan Thurman. He's just way too slow. I don't think that he's going to transition into the NFL very well. You got Dwayne McKinley here, which I thought that he had one of the best combines out of anybody, but the tape just wasn't there from Florida A&M for a lot of these, for us to really go out and take him. So I think maybe a chance to take him next round wouldn't be bad. You got Dante Felton here at right tackle, who was okay. Gilbert Ayers down here at middle linebacker. If we needed another depth piece at middle linebacker, could always take him. He's a good coverage guy. And I really like Bo Lane, though, down here. He was someone who, just for value purposes, I thought was solid. Obviously, you got John Roosevelt here. Once again, corner who is interesting, but wasn't sold on him. You got Daniel Copper here, older guy. Another receiver as well in Antoine Livingston. I thought he was a little more intriguing. He went up against Derek Smart pretty much every single practice, as he was his college teammate here from Illinois. So maybe steel, sharpened steel there, someone we might need to target later. Jaden Overstreet was another defensive tackle, but since we drafted one, don't really have to focus too much on him. You got Ronald Crosby later, someone to target. A couple of guards and just offensive linemen, I should say, in general. So some possibilities there. I liked Tay Myers as a power back. I thought he could be a solid guy. Give us a little bit of something different in the backfield, I guess. I thought Isaac Pounds was someone we could target later in the draft. Really good value here for Le'Veon McDougald as well. So, and one of my favorite players in the entire draft, Houston Northern, who I thought might actually be able to play free safety. So that was someone that was interesting. I want to target him for sure. Maybe even draft him around early if we have to. But he was someone that I really, really liked down here. Not a whole lot of depth pieces that I loved necessarily. So that's pretty much what we're looking at right now. So, like I said, we could go after the other running back. Could get a corner, I guess. Like I said, don't really need any of these defensive ends. Could try for D'Angelo Sneed or Michael Jameson. Reach down there and grab those guys. But I really am intrigued by this John Prince pick. I really, really am. And he's 6'6", 227. You know what? I know he might be really raw, but I think we have to try for this Boise State receiver. I mean, even if he doesn't start for the next 2 years, but comes out in his third season and is a monster on the outside, I say why not? You know, you don't see a 6'6", 227 receiver coming out of Boise State very often. So let's go ahead and get him. John Prince, rolling the dice. I know he's going to be real raw. Talent won't be there to start with, but 67 overall. Okay, not too bad. 87 speed. All right, I was worried the speed was going to be unworkable. 87 I can deal with. All right, can deal with 87 speed. 90 acceleration isn't too bad. 76 catching is actually solid for a guy in that range, but 84 catch in traffic, 82 spectacular catch. If we work on those route runnings, maybe get him a little bit quicker, I think that he could be someone we really could utilize. So John Prince, an interesting target here. So now we got Washington up next, and a handful of different players here who could go. Carl Gandy, who is the corner that we could have drafted there. There's the running back, Clay Graham, 69 overall. I don't feel like that we really would have used him much. Marshawn Fuller, who we looked at, going off the board. Vincent Drummond. The Texans go with the left end, Aaron Parham from Stanford. Lions get a defensive end. Patriots. So, handful of various players coming off. Lots of different positions. And it seems like a little bit of a run on defensive ends here. As Eagles are up next. You can go with the guard, the Saints. Not a lot of great players in this realm. There's Michael Jameson, who we liked, as the Bills get him. Landry Brown, Marlon Nixon going off the board. There's D'Angelo Sneed, who was the Notre Dame receiver, who was interesting. And yes, he's a higher overall than the receiver we got, but he's not 6'6". Okay, so that's what it boils down to. So now the Titans are on the board. Division rivals. They get Austin Copeland, tight end. I didn't really like this tight end class at all. I actually scouted a lot of them, and our scouting department said that it was a pretty weak tight end class. So that's why we didn't really target any of them in the draft so far. Dante Felton goes off the board. Solid tackle there. There's Sylvester Wadsworth. Interesting. What a name. What a name. But yeah, I was not a huge fan of the tight end class, which is unfortunate because I wouldn't have minded maybe targeting a young tight end that we could try and develop while we had Travis Kelce for a season or two. But unfortunately, that's just not the way things panned out for us. Let's look at the draft board, see if there's anything here that we really want to go after. I really want to get this free safety, Dwayne McKinley. I love what his combine brings to the table. He's the 12th player on the draft board. Can we get him? Probably not, unless we trade up for him. And I don't know if I want to do that. We already traded up once. And there goes Dwayne McKinley, 67 overall. So, solid player, but I just feel like his combine was crazy. And then John Roosevelt. Bo Lane, the guard, who is going to be solid, we figured. And Courtney Franklin. Who do the Colts take? And they take a free safety, Dalton Francis. All right. So now we've got maybe Gilbert Ayers we could target down the board here. Antoine Livingston, who I still think is a solid guy. Steel sharpens steel, remember. Could go with a defensive tackle, but again, I don't feel like we don't need a defensive tackle. We got 2 third-round picks, so maybe we trade one of these away for a future pick or something. Because I don't love where we're going to probably be at with our next pick. There goes Antoine Floyd. There's Gilbert Ayers, so the Washington goes out and grabs him. Finney to the Steelers. Another quarterback, finally. The Rams grab him. And there goes Antoine Livingston, so he's not even available for us to take anyways, as the Niners get him. The Niners have had a couple good picks in this draft. Texans go with a defensive tackle, Eugene Hopkins. And now we are up next. And as you see here, not really loving a lot of these options here. I mean, you got to scroll quite a ways to find a player that I feel like is worth drafting. And it's a defensive tackle. We already drafted one. And we already have, some guys. We don't need another one. So now you're all the way down here, 30-some picks down the draft board before you find another guy. I feel like now would be a good time to trade a pick away. So let's see what is available here. We are in the 2023 draft class, I believe. So we're going to want to get 2024 picks. Could go with Seattle. Could go with Philly. Yeah, that's kind of it in terms of future draft capital. Philly has a 3 and then this year's 6. Or we could go with Seattle's 3 next year and this year's 7. Might as well take the 6th round pick and make a gamble and see if Philly is going to be good or not next year. It's a 6th round draft pick, so it won't really, a 3rd round draft pick, so it'll matter, but not a ton. So let's go ahead and trade with Philadelphia. And who do they trade up here for? They go with Denzel Braxton, who I didn't know how good he was going to be. So not a bad pick there. And there goes Jaden Overstreet from Arizona State to the Panthers. I knew he was going to be solid, but like I said, we just didn't need him. A couple centers going off the board here. A quarterback from Buffalo going to Miami. Leon Spikes. There's Ronald Crosby, the right tackle, going to New Orleans. He was someone who we may have targeted with our next pick, so that's unfortunate. And now we are on the board once again. So now looking at who's available. Not loving a lot here, but you scroll down a little ways, and we do have a slew of a few players here to choose from. You got Peyton Winters, who I don't really love it because doesn't have great strength. I thought he got bull rushed a bit in the tape from Wake Forest. And then you have Marcus McDonald here from Alabama. Speed's just not there to play in the NFL. I'll be 100% honest. Just not there. Tay Myers, intriguing to get a power back in this offense. So someone that we might be able to take. Cordavius Smith from USC. Just another solid guy. And then rolling down the board a little more, we have Dexter King, another running back, but I don't think we need him. I feel like I'd rather go with the power back for something different. Donovan McKinney is down here as well. Once again, I don't think he's got the speed to really play in the NFL, though. Isaac Pounds is interesting to me. I really like Isaac Pounds. But, again, do we need him right now? I don't really know. Le'Veon McDougald is someone that I would like to draft. So, do I want to draft him here? That seems a bit of a reach, especially considering we do have a pick here in, I don't know, probably 23 to 25 picks away. So I say why not go ahead and take a power back here in Tay Myers. We don't have one really on our team, so the Duke power back, let's go ahead and get him. Tay Myers, normal dev, didn't expect a whole lot more than that, but he is the 63rd in true talent, got him at 82, so good pick there. Solid speed for a power back at 90. He's got pretty solid carrying, solid ball carry vision, good stiff arm, trucking is okay, actually okay juke move as well. So Tay Myers, someone we could develop and maybe as a goal line back in the future. So then moving forward, go ahead and zoom through a lot of these picks. There's goes Cordavius Smith. He was a 68 overall, so not a huge difference there. And Isaac Pounds, okay, he goes 65 overall. I don't think he would have made much of an impact for us after all. So, unfortunate, but it is what it is. There goes the other running back, 68 overall. And Le'Veon McDougald, the guy we really wanted, goes here pretty early, actually. So maybe we should have went and drafted him when we had the chance. Unfortunately, he goes to New York. Now the Colts get another receiver, Robert Tompkins. All right, there goes Donovan McKinney. Ooh, that is a whiff by Washington. There goes Trey Moorhead, the guard who I thought could be good. So another pick off the board for us. As now it's getting pretty slim pickings out there. So let's see what is available here in the fourth round. As not seeing a whole lot. You have Marcus McDonald here. Once again, I don't think he's got the speed to play in the NFL. And anything else looking interesting? You got Dom Burnett. He could just be a depth player at outside linebacker, possibly. We have our boy, Houston Northern. I think this might be where we pick him. Well, I talked about picking him a whole round early, and I think it might be time. Houston Northern. What a name. Coming from Oregon, and I thought played phenomenal in the tape that I saw. I think he can play either safety position. He might even be able to play corner if we need him to. Houston Northern, super excited about him. 71 overall, hidden dev, 19 in true talent, got him at 105. I think Houston Northern is an absolute stud. 88 speed, 75 zone coverage, 92 acceleration. He's got a little bit of hit power. He's got really good pursuit for a rookie. And he's got solid awareness, actually. So I think that he is going to be someone who could really develop over some time here. I love that pick. All right. So we're just going to go ahead and jump to our next pick. As at this point in the draft, there's not a whole lot of guys that we're going to recognize and want to draft. So looking at who's available now, you got Bernie Shepard down here. Not really great. Excuse me. Not a whole lot. Got a depth defensive lineman here. Another depth defensive lineman. This one looks solid, though. Le'Veon Palmer. Safety and Vaughn Johnson. Mitch Bassnight. He was the guy late that I really liked, and I think we can probably get him with our next pick. So we don't really need to go down there and reach for him. Hopefully we can get him with our next pick. I mean, so if we're going to choose someone here to pick, I'm not really loving anyone. So maybe we trade this pick away for a future pick. I don't think that's a bad decision. We've got no future picks available. Okay. Maybe we could trade it for a player. You never know. So let's see if we can't trade it for, well, I guess what do we need? Maybe a veteran offensive lineman or something? Like a guard? Maybe try and get like a Joel Bitonio. Don't think they're going to let us get Quentin Nelson, unfortunately. It would be nice. Certainly would be nice, but I don't think that they're going to go for that. Elton Jenkins, you know what? I doubt we can get him, but I just want to see how they value him as a player. 5th rounder. Oh, yeah, they view him quite highly, which is what I suspected, but you never know. Joe Thuney. I think of all these guys, maybe Joel Bitonio wouldn't be a bad one to target. Anyone at the right guard spot that we could look at? Obviously, we're not going to be able to get Zach Martin, that's for sure. Like, Brandon Brooks is intriguing to me. He's 34, like, would you take a 5th? No. It's just, I don't know. Chris Lindstrom. Okay, Kevin Zeitler. Huh. He's 33 now. Shaq Mason. Brandon Scherf. I don't know. None of these guys are jumping out at me right now. Like, maybe we try and get Joel Bitonio. Don't know if they would even move him. But we got the cap space to take on his contract. If they would take a fifth for him, no. So, I wasn't sure. You never know with these players. Now, what does Trey Turner bring to the table here? He looks solid. And he's been pretty good. So maybe we can get Trey Turner. He wouldn't be a bad one to maybe get for a 5th round pick. I mean, why not? Nope. They view him as a scheme fit, so it's going to be hard to get him. Yeah, I don't know. Not loving a lot of these options out here. Go just for a stopgap, get like a Rodney Hudson maybe. They might trade him because he's getting up there in age at 34. I don't see a lot of these other teams moving on from their center, though. These centers are hard to come by in this game. I don't know why, but I mean, maybe we could try and get a Ryan Kelly. I don't know if that really helps us much. Would they view Creed Humphrey? Yeah, they view him pretty highly, which is what I kind of suspected, but going ahead and seeing what we got here. Rodney Hudson. I mean, if we could get him for a 1-year deal, why not? Who else are you going to get with a 5th round pick, you know? A starter at center. Okay, so not quite. Yeah, and that's pretty much what we've got. Unless there's a tackle or something that someone would move on from, but I highly doubt that. Tackles are, I don't know, they struggle in this game. Doesn't matter who you are, it seems like. You always seem to be struggling. So, all right, well, it was worth a shot there. And you know what? I don't think that we're going to be able to get like a really solid corner or anything. So let's go ahead and just trade away this pick. Who's going to be bad next year? That's a good question. Who doesn't have a quarterback? That's going to be who we go after. I mean, the Packers definitely are going downhill with Aaron Rodgers regressing hard. Obviously, the Lions never drafted a QB. They're rolling with Drew Lock, who they signed in free agency. So that could be a target. Patriots with Gardner Minshew. I mean, I think that the obvious option here would be a Drew Lock-led team. So let's go ahead and see if we can't get like a 4th round pick in the future for this. Really? All right. So, a 5 for a 5 and a 7. No. 5 for a 5. Really? What are we doing here? Apparently the Lions think their draft capital is worth more than anyone else's. I have no idea why. Will the Packers? No, the Packers are a little more reasonable. So maybe we go ahead and ask for a 5 and a 7 from them. No. How about just a 5 straight up? Alright, 5 for 5. So let's go ahead and jump to our next pick. As on the draft board, we've got... Still got that left outside linebacker. Wow, they drafted the lineman. I was incorrect. So, I guess that's what I get for trying to be cute. So, here we go. Who is up next? Who do we feel like could be good? Nobody, it feels like. Absolutely nobody. Are there any linemen like that could be solid? Maybe an undrafted guy? I don't really see anyone who... I mean... Maybe a Pete Clark as an undrafted guy. Dakota Parnell could be interesting as an undrafted offensive lineman. So you can always use backup offensive linemen. Like, that's never something that will go to the wayside. So let's go ahead and draft some... Well, I guess we'll trade this pick away as well. So we've got some other picks to focus on. We get Minnesota, Seattle, Atlanta, Philly, Miami. Get a 4th rounder here for Miami or Cleveland. Go the 4th rounder from Miami. Well, actually, no, they have Patrick Mahomes from Cleveland. There we go. All right. Next user pick. Anything crazy like a 4th rounder on the board here? Ah, yeah, we still have a 4th round pick. You know what? Trade this one away for a 4th rounder, too. I mean, we're going up 2 drafts rounds, so... Now we'll make some picks. Oh, excuse me. For some undrafted free agents. But we're going to go ahead and draft these guys anyways. Parnell was one that we were looking at who could be interesting. Who was the other one that we liked? It's Dakota something, I thought. Maybe it was Pete Clark. That's who it was. All right. Any interesting... Got Pat Buckley here, who we liked. You know what? We haven't drafted an outside linebacker yet, so why not go ahead and grab Pat Buckley from Wake Forest? Although he's really, really slow. So maybe not. To be determined yet. Ooh, Derek St. Louis is interesting. Gene Carr? No, he's way too slow. Doolittle. Mr. Doolittle. Alright. Anything amazing down the board here? Floyd Turk. Eh. Niall Bibbs. Tobias. What a name. Tobias. Oh boy. So I actually kind of like Derek St. Louis. He's got okay speed. He's got some decent strength. He's 21. And we could always use more middle linebackers to develop. So why not? Hidden Dev. Okay, Hidden Dev. It was a little bit of a reach, 59 overall, but Hidden Dev is something we can work with, okay? I will take it. On to the next user pick here. And seeing as we already traded a bunch of picks away, we're going to make 2 picks on some of these undrafted players. Obviously, we're probably not going to get anything too crazy, but why not? I think offensive linemen are a good bet, obviously, because you can always get depth offensive linemen and can utilize that. And especially because we traded a right tackle away, so let's go ahead and get Dakota Parnell here. And wow, look at that. 69 overall, 30 in true talent. And he was undrafted. So there's Hidden Dev as well. I'd say we hit on that one. So there we go, Dakota Parnell. Undrafted guy who we went out and grabbed in the 7th round. And let's see if we can get one more of those. As we did like... Ooh, who was it? Maybe it was a guard. It might have been a guard. Pete Clark, I think. And he's 21. Solid strength. I mean, I don't think he's going to be as good. So we don't have to take him necessarily. Obviously, we do have a 6th round guy here who is still out here. You know he's a 6th round talent. So, you know, maybe we take him. Or we take a flyer on Pat Buckley. I mean, who do we like more? Pat Buckley's got good strength. Speed is terrible. Everything else is not great. Bernie Shepard's got, well, not a whole lot better. So, Pat Buckley. Do we like Pat Buckley more, or do we like Pete Clark more? Offensive lineman or outside linebacker? Always go with the offensive lineman. That's my bet. And that was a good bet. 23 in true talent. Hidden Dev. Even better. I didn't think Pete Clark would be better than Parnell, who we drafted last round or last pick. So nice depth pieces there across the offensive lineman or across the offensive line in the 7th round. Not bad choices there. So let's go ahead and finish out this draft. We'll look at the draft recap, see if there's anyone who really intrigues us. Draft recap, looking here. As you can see, we got 76 overall, 77 overall, 67, 67, 71, 59 with Derek St. Louis, wasn't great. Set 69 and 70 overall, though. Solid players here. And let's go ahead and see who was the best overall player. It was Deontay Sellers. We got the second best, though. Not bad there. As you got the younger Fowler brother there. So, and we got the third best. So, not bad. Not bad at all. Rayshawn Loud did end up having 94 speed. Hidden Dev. He looks solid. He definitely would have been a solid player for us to take. Ty Davis, never really got a chance to look at what was his deal here. He was okay. I don't think that he would have been crazy. Anyone else that we liked a lot? I mean, obviously we liked Corey Fowler, but he was just too early. And he clearly, solid player, really good strength, really good player overall. We liked Matt Beckett as well, but, you know, couldn't get them all. There's the other Fowler brother. We did like Ronald Crosby. He just went earlier than we had anticipated. Mitch Bassnight, that was the guy we were trying to get. He would have been a 71 overall, but I feel like we got some solid players on that same realm, honestly. Anyone else? Oh, Sneed was one that we were looking at. I don't really think he was great, honestly. So I'm kind of glad we didn't go that route. McDougald we liked. He would have been a really good player to have, but it's all right. Jameson we were a fan of. Derek Smart was that number one corner. And he's not as good as we thought. All right. Pretty bad zone coverage. Man coverage leaves something to be desired as well. So Derek Smart, not as good as anticipated. Trey Moorhead was one that we were looking at. Yeah. This is the other running back that we didn't take. And he definitely was faster, but that was kind of it. You know, he's kind of like what we already have on our team. Catching just isn't quite there. He's just a speedy guy. And I don't feel like that would have really helped us a whole lot. All right. Any other guys? Antoine Livingston. I think that was the steel sharpened steel receiver. And he was okay. I would say that was kind of just okay. So nothing too crazy here. I don't think that our division rivals did a whole lot. That was great, so that's, I guess, good. As you can see, the Texans did get Gabe Fowler. But outside of that, didn't do a whole lot. And the Colts, they did get Derek Smart, but he wasn't as good as anticipated. And outside of that, didn't do much of anything. So we like to see our division rivals struggle. So let's go ahead and advance this thing. Getting into the preseason now. All right. So I know we were talking about maybe continuing into the regular season, but this took a little longer than anticipated. That's because of me, you know. That's what I do. I like to look at a lot of things. So let's go ahead and look at the free agents before we head out. Make sure there's no one that we feel like would help this team out. And in terms of right off the bat, I don't really see a whole lot out here. I mean, we could always get another running back, but we already drafted a couple, so I don't think that's necessarily something we have to do. And as you see, there's a lot of vets out here, but none of them are, going to help us out, I don't believe. Latavius Murray is out here. As you can see, he's not quite the player that he used to be, but he's still really solid, actually. So who knows? Maybe we bring him back down the stretch. We will have to think about that. But for right now, I think this is the team that we're going to be rolling with. We can probably go ahead and advance through the preseason. I don't see why we can't do that. But let's set up our depth chart first. All right, we'll start with an auto reorder and go from there. So we got Trevor Nickerson here at the leading the helm at quarterback, as we now only have 2 quarterbacks on the roster, with Kellen Mond as the only backup. Philip Rivers retired. So we got Aaron Jones, Travis Etienne, and LaMarcus Holloway. I think we'll keep Holloway as the third back for now, because why not let's see what Travis Etienne can do. He's got good speed. You never know. And then in terms of our 4th running back, instead of John Kelly, I would like to see the rookie Tay Myers in there. Fullback, CJ Ham will be doing the fullback duties this year. I know we've had other players in there in the past, like Latavius Murray, but I think it is time for CJ Ham to get his due. At receiver, we got CeeDee Lamb at the number 1, Jerry Jeudy now at 2, Keontae Bonds at 3, T. Higgins at 4. And I think we're going to put Pittman at the 5 spot. Tight end, Travis Kelce, Jonnu Smith, obviously. Left tackle, still going to be Adam Ritter. Left guard, we will be playing David DeCastro there once again. Center. Center. This is interesting. Could go with Nick Harris, obviously, once again. I think we will. Lorenzo Betts at right guard. Let these rookies sit behind him. And we can always put one of those rookies in if we feel like it is necessary. And then we've got a slew of various players here. I guess we didn't trade Merrill Wiley. For some reason I thought we did. I know we talked about it, but we did not actually trade him. Jedrick Wills will be starting at right tackle once again. All right, left end, we've got Chase Young here. I'm going to put Quincy Williams as the backup there. And then maybe Aiden Hutchinson. And then at right end, we have actually Aiden Hutchinson starting. So we'll have to see if that will stay that way or not. Quincy Williams. Right now it's Micah Parsons, but we'll have to see. Floyd Ellis, Wade Glenn as the number 2. Terrell Beckworth slips down to 3. Left outside linebacker, we have a Darius Evans playing that spot. Micah Parsons at 2. Interesting. Middle linebacker, Bobby Okereke, J.J. Marable. I wouldn't hate getting Logan Wilson in here, maybe. Question is, do we want him at... we'll put him... at 3. I would like J.J. Marable to get a run. Right outside linebacker, you got Quincy Williams starting there, so no Micah Parsons starting. What are we doing? All right, this is all sorts of screwy here. Yeah, this is not how we're doing this. Micah Parsons is starting at a defensive end spot. The question is which one. Right end will be playing against the left tackle. I think he started at left end last year. Because he was on the right tackle, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Micah Parsons was on the right tackle. So let's go ahead and have Micah Parsons starting at left end for us. And then at right end, we'll put we'll have Williams play as an actual linebacker. I think we should have Chase Young starting here over Darius Evans. The reason being, Young has better power move and better finesse. Block shedding goes to Darius Evans, but Darius Evans has better tackling, which would be better for a linebacker position, and he's got better coverages. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and have Chase Young start at right end. And then at left outside linebacker, well, actually defensive tackle, let's go ahead and slip Young up there. I like Wade Glenn getting an opportunity there at DT2. Left outside, we're going to have a Darius Evans playing the left outside linebacker role. Micah Parsons. Middle linebacker, obviously we got this. Right outside, Quincy Williams, Darius Evans, Bobby Okereke. I like that. I think that's solid. Corner, you got Marshawn Lattimore, Big Play Slay, Richie Branch, Trayvon Diggs, and Nick Needham. I like it. Free safety, we are going to start Earl Thomas this season just to see. And then Jalen Thompson obviously could come in if needed. Strong safety. Going to throw Jalen Thompson in here as the back, third string actually. We'll have Northern Houston. Nah, we're going to have Jalen Thompson be the backup there as well. Kicker, it's going to be Josh Lambo. Punter, Matt Hack. Kick return man, we can continue to have Travis Etienne fill that role. Kickoff specialist, It's fine. Long snapper, that's fine. Third down running back. I do want LaMarcus Holloway as the second because he can catch passes pretty well. Power running back. I want Tay Myers, actually, as the number 2. Travis Etienne can be 3. Slot wide receiver. This is going to be interesting because CeeDee Lamb, we continued to have play on the outside last year, and I think we're going to continue to do that. Jerry Jeudy, slot. I think we'll let Keontae Bonds play in the slot since he did kind of lose his job for no reason necessarily to Jerry Jeudy. So we'll let Bonds play in the slot, see if that helps him out at all. Obviously, he's got 91 speed versus Jerry Jeudy's 91. It's kind of the same. So catching traffic is 90 versus 83. We'll see if that causes problems or not, but rush left end. So the left end is going to be on the right tackle. So that is Micah Parsons, obviously. With the Darius Evans backing him up. Rush right end is going to be on the left tackle. And that is... Ooh, this is tough. Do we have a Darius Evans rush the passer? I think it's going to be Chase Young. Darius Evans can be the backup there as well. Rush defensive tackle, going to be Floyd Ellis and not Aiden Hutchinson, actually. All right, so maybe a Darius Evans does play rush right end. Chase Young can back him up. Chase Young can play the second rush defensive tackle as well. Sub linebacker, you got Quincy Williams, Bobby Okereke, a Darius Evans, that's fine. Slot corner, you got big play Slay, Richie Branch, and Jalen Thompson, why not? Because he's backing up at the safety position. Practice squad, we don't care about that right now, and that's that. So that's what we're looking at in terms of our starting lineup. So let's go through the preseason, get to week 1, and that's where we're going to call it quits. So we're going to go ahead and advance. We're not going to play these games, obviously. We're also not going to really watch the games because we want to see the regular season. Let's be honest. As you see in week 1, we did beat the Bengals in week 1, 21-13. Nice to see. It's a good win. As we got Jaquil Easter coming in with the first upgrade of the season. And he is going to continue to be upgraded as a run-supporting safety. Nate McBride also gets an upgrade here. We'll make him a run stopper. Keep that as a scheme fit for him. All right. Go ahead and advance this thing to next week. Week 2 of the preseason, and we end up losing to the Bills 24-10. Okay, so 1 win, 1 loss. Micah Parsons gets an upgrade. We're going to continue to make him an elite speed rusher. Up to an 84 overall now. Now 91 finesse move. That's what we like to see. And then we're going to advance this thing one more time. Getting to week 4. We have an injury, actually. Who got hurt? Oh, my goodness. I just can't. With Aaron Jones. And this is why we drafted another running back, or 2, actually. as Aaron Jones has struggled to stay on the field. Partial PCL tear here. He's going to be gone for 6 weeks to start the year. Actually, it'll be the first 5 weeks of the season. So that's going to be unfortunate, but we will have to deal with it. So we're going to go ahead and we got 10 players to cut or move to the practice squad. So let's start this thing off and go up to kicker because I think we have 2 kickers for some reason. So let's cut this other kicker. That'll make an easy first cut. So now let's go ahead and look through quarterback. Can't really cut anyone there, obviously. Running back, can't now. So that's something that we're going to have to deal with. At wide receiver, we don't need 1,000 of them. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got 9 of them. So let's move Corey Sutton to the practice squad and move Eric Davis to the practice squad. And let's see what we can do after that. Tight end. We got 3 of them. Do we need 3? Probably not. We will have to see. 2 across every single one of the offensive linemen except for right tackles. We got 3 right tackles. So that means we could send Drew Anglin to the practice squad. That's what we're going to do. And then at left end, don't really have enough defensive ends and defensive linemen in general to send anyone to the practice squad. Outside linebacker, we got 3 left outside. Middle linebacker, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And right outside, we got 3. So let's go ahead and send some of these guys to the practice squad. Don't need Anthony Epke, probably. Probably don't need Max Richardson either. Or we'll keep Derek St. Louis off the practice squad because I don't want the hidden dev to be stolen by someone. We'll move Nate McBride to the practice squad. Could go with another linebacker, but let's see what we got. Corner, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 corners. Okay, 2 safeties, 3 free safeties. I think we can finally cut Andrew Wingard because we got Houston Northern now to be the backup. So, Andrew Wingard, it is time for you to leave the team. So now we've got 3 players left. We can go ahead and send Max Richardson to the practice squad. So now we got 2 players left to deal with, and it wants us to probably send a receiver or a corner to the practice squad. I don't want to lose John Prince, so I don't want to send him to the practice squad, and that leaves us in a position where we're going to have to cut somebody. Now, this is tough. This is really tough for us because there's a story here with Trent Sherfield. For those of you that do not remember Mr. Trent Sherfield, he has been very solid for us. In fact, you look at the stats, he started when this thing first began. He was the number, 3 receiver, I believe, for this Husky squad. Either 2 or 3. Number 2 or number 3 receiver. He had 700 yards, 1 touchdown, and then the following season, still played as a number 4 receiver. And if you guys don't remember, a few seasons ago, he had one of the craziest plays ever for us, where he caught a Hail Mary that tipped off of about 4 different players and was able to catch it and run it in for a touchdown to win us a game against, I believe it was either the Colts or the Texans. I can't remember. It was one of our division rivals, Colts, Texans, Titans, one of them, and I think it was the Colts that it was against. And what a great memory from Trent Sherfield, and he will always be remembered as the man who caught the Hail Mary. But unfortunately, I do believe it is time for him to move on to greener pastures. Goodbye, Trent Sherfield. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 receivers, which is fine. And I think it might be time to move the second tight end to the practice squad. I don't think we need 3. I am worried, though, if someone gets hurt. Let's move the second center to the practice squad. We can roll with 1. So we're going to go ahead and advance this thing 1 more week. And we ended up winning our final preseason game. So that puts us at 2-2. So here we are in week 1 of the NFL season. Very, very excited to see what this season brings for this Toronto Huskies team. There's one more thing I want to do in terms of the NFL. I want to show you guys all the starting quarterbacks, see what has changed over the years. So starting out, we've got Trevor Nickerson here for your Toronto Huskies in his 3rd season, getting ready to start. And then the Jets, they have Sam Darnold as their starter still. He's been playing pretty solid for them. The Lions have Drew Lock now starting, as they got rid of Matthew Stafford and they're rolling with Drew Lock instead of drafting a quarterback. An interesting decision there. So then the Packers still have Aaron Rodgers as their starter, as he has really regressed in here. So let's see if the Packers start to feel that, as I think they had the number 1 pick actually this past season. So that kind of goes to show that they are starting to feel the regression of Aaron Rodgers. And then the Carolina Panthers have Teddy Bridgewater starting for them out there. So he's still the starter. And then the New England Patriots have Gardner Minshew now, who they signed in free agency. He should be their starter. That'll be exciting to see. I'm a huge Gardner Minshew fan. Love that. Love Minshew Mania. So let's see if he brings Minshew Mania to New England. And then the Raiders have Derek Carr still starting. I'm surprised they're rolling with him still. And then the Rams have Jared Goff as their starter. Nothing too crazy there. Ravens have Lamar Jackson as expected. The Redskins have Dwayne Haskins. Rest in peace. He is starting for them. Nice to see him get a run there. The Saints have Jacoby Brissett. They still have Jacoby Brissett starting, which I don't hate this move, as they have rookie Ty Davis down here at number 2, who they drafted. I mean, Jacoby Brissett just led the NFL in yards and touchdowns last season. It's going to be hard to replace him just like that. So he was on the verge of MVP caliber. And then the Seahawks still have Russell Wilson playing strong for them. The Steelers have Jacoby Caldwell, as he has been starting for them the last couple seasons. And then the Texans still have Deshaun Watson as Brock Purdy backing him up. That's interesting. The Titans have Trey Lance in his 2nd season now. He was a rookie last year for them and played pretty solid, I would say. The Vikings have Jamie Newman in his 2nd season. It'll be interesting to see what he can do for them. The Bears have Nathan Russell in his 3rd year. He's been playing well for them. X Factor. You know how it goes. The Bengals have Justin Herbert still, as he's been leading them. The Bills still have Josh Allen. Not too shocking there. The Broncos have Jameis Winston as their starter still. That is nice to see him continuing to get a run in the NFL. And the Browns here have Baker Mayfield, who is a monster in this game. I don't know why. And then the Bucks have Demetrius Maddox, 3rd-year quarterback, another guy who has been phenomenal since entering the NFL. And then the Cardinals have Kyler Murray, who's up to an 86 overall. And then the Chargers have Joe Burrow and Mitchell Trubisky, who they must have signed in free agency, as Trubisky was a free agent this previous season. I do believe. I'm not 100% sure on that. And then the Chiefs have Trevor Lawrence out there. So they moved on pretty quickly from Patrick Mahomes and got themselves an X-Factor quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. The Colts, who had Jordan Love, start for them last season, and Jordan Love was phenomenal for them last year and won them the Super Bowl. And they're deciding to move on and grab Cam Newton, who was a free agent this previous season. So an interesting choice here from the Indianapolis Colts, moving on from their young quarterback who just won them a Super Bowl in Jordan Love, and decided to go with the veteran Cam Newton instead. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. The Cowboys here have Dak Prescott still. And then the Dolphins obviously have Patrick Mahomes after he left the Kansas City Chiefs, signed with the Dolphins. And then the Eagles still have Carson Wentz. We saw him. And then the Falcons have Justin Fields in his second season. We'll have to see how his sophomore season goes out there. He was solid for the Falcons in his rookie year. And then the 49ers are still rolling with Jimmy G. We'll have to see how much longer he's going to be their starting quarterback. And then the Giants have Tua, as he is a 95 overall now. And they have Daniel Jones still. So that is what the starting quarterbacks look like in the NFL. In terms of overall, we have one of the lower ones, but he's number one in our hearts. Trevor Nickerson, in his third season. We will get to see what that looks like in the next stream. Until then, my name is TayVikes28. I thank you guys for watching. This was a long one. A lot of hemming and hawing throughout this one, but kind of giving you an insight as to what this team is looking for the future and what you can kind of expect from this Huskies, not just squad, but also franchise as a whole moving forward, and to kind of give you an insight into what I was thinking throughout the off season. So I appreciate you guys watching. Like I said, my name is TayVikes28, and have a great rest of your day.